Welcome back to Animal Crossing New Horizons. I'm dear darling, as shall we see what's going on a lovely island of Fawnhallow today, where we'll be relaxing as per usual. I will say, my first try at recording this, turns out I double clicked. Luckily, I caught it within about 10 seconds, and I was like, whoa, hold on a second there. That is a little bit of a double click. So yeah. I don't know really what else I was going to say about it. Good evening, everyone. Right now in Fawnhallow, it's 7:02 PM on Wednesday, February 4th, 2026. Today's Lily's birthday, so of course we celebrate Lily's birthday. There's also a D&D session today. I don't really know, like, I feel like I say this at the start of each of the Solani Wonders D&D sessions, that I don't really know how they're gonna go, because it's kind of experimental, the sort of phase we are in right now, where I spoke about it before. It's kind of like exploration pillar based, but it's also like it's pretty hard. Well, at least I'm personally finding it a little bit hard to prep for exploration stuff, because it's like, well, I mean, it has like no cementing. No, it's pretty difficult to cement things with a plot, except for things they randomly stumble across. But even then, because it's ramble, they don't know if it's necessarily something relevant to the plot or not. So I had a big discussion about like changing up slightly, and you know, I settled on something which I was going to essentially do going forward. It's slightly different. Like, I've made a few adjustments to it to make it what I think makes a bit more sense. And essentially, the way I describe it is, it's kind of like playing a roguelite sort of thing. They have the way I described it before, they have X amount of energy. I did say 10 before. I put it up to 100 just so we can have more granular details in it. And then basically what they're going to do is they're going to roll. They're going to have small encounters, like mini encounters, and then one major encounter. That's the plan. I'm not really sure how it's going to pan out, because it's like I want it to make it feel like it's a pilgrimage, like it's multiple days journeying through these sort of areas, right? At the same time, you know, I got to keep in mind they're level 10, which is, you know, far above the average human when it comes to actually, you know, it's like not like if it was in the real world, it would be like, this is like ridiculous, like ability for a human being to have. So, you know, gotta bear that in mind, that they are definitely like, I wouldn't say the level of like demigods or anything like that, but they certainly are pretty strong. So it's like the conventions of how long it would take a regular person to do this, like a level 0 NPC, you know, compared to a level 10 bum, is going to be a bit different. But I do at the same time want to make it kind of feel like an Odyssey, like a mini Odyssey sort of thing. But at the same time, that's a bit difficult because it's not really what this campaign was meant to be about. I don't really know how to run this sort of thing, so I'm sort of just like half improvising it at the same time. So I basically just borrowed from like roguelites, where you basically have some energy and you have chance of like gaining and losing energy and other benefits, deficits here and there. So but basically, I guess a better way to put it is we're almost playing with like the realism rules. We're resting, kind of. Because, I mean, everything's a bit of an abstraction right now. So, yes. I don't know if it's necessarily the right way to go about things, but there's also, it's pretty difficult to find out. So, I'm slowly putting together, like, a list of mini, like, encounters. And they're very simple. They're, like, one sentence encounters. Where it's like, you can roll to do something, or you can choose to do something, or you can choose not to. And you can obviously roleplay it out if you want to roleplay it out, but if you don't want to, you don't want to. I don't really know necessarily, because it's, again, this is what makes it so difficult, is that it really relies on them being very proactive with role-playing moments that they want to roleplay. Because a lot of the time so far, you know, and it's fair enough with a lot of D&D campaigns, it's be like, I'll give them a scenario, hey, now this is your cue, you can roleplay as you want. But this one, it's sort of just like, well, here's a potential scenario, do you want to act this out, or do you want to basically give us a pass? I don't know, necessarily, because it's up to them. I guess me as a DM, I'm kind of worried that if I don't give like a pause, or if I don't explicitly be like, this is a scene you're in, instead of this is me narrating something, these next sessions are just going to be me basically reading out a script for like, you know, for totaling like 30 hours or something, which sounds incredibly boring to play and incredibly tedious on my part. That's not the collaborative storytelling experience we're looking for. So yeah, but there's definitely some concern in my mind there of like how it's going to pan out. I really hope they grab these opportunities. That's why I've thought of like an in-between, but they're going to have like 4 mini encounters, which are like, they can write them off if they want, they can roleplay them if they want, and then 1 larger encounter for each one, essentially. And these larger encounters are much more scripted encounters, per se. So like, but the mini ones are the ones which are actually truly random, and then I can leave the scripted ones as being ones which I actually want them to engage with. I want them to like think about, or stuff like that, you know. So I think that's the best balance, you know. If we were to put this in terms of like a Uma Musume run or something, you know, it's the story events are the ones which I'm scripting out. These are big ones they all have to interact with, and this has the biggest effect on energy and resources. And then there'll be trainee events as well, which have random effects here and there. That's essentially what's going on. So yeah, I don't know how it all works. I don't know how fun that is necessarily to play as in D&D, but we're going to find out. If it needs adjustment, if we need to abandon it, then so be it, you know. Again, it's a bit strange, you know. I've spoken about this before, but they're not meant to be doing this arc this early necessarily. They're meant to, like, in my mind, this was probably the last character arc that they would be exploring. So, you know, it's had a little bit of a rewrite to make it fit the current context. But, you know, at the same time, because I was like, it's the last character arc because it's going to be the hardest one. I mean, I think I described it before. They basically had to pilgrimage essentially to the end of a land, the end of a world, and then see what happens, essentially. Which is obviously, if you're like level 15 to 17 or something, that's not too difficult. In fact, you probably have a lot of methods opened up to you by that point to be able to do so. Otherwise, it's a relatively easy thing, you know? Yes. So that's kind of what it's a bit like, okay, because in my mind it was like you don't actually need to travel this entire area by foot, because when you're that strong, eventually you'll have some ways to do large scale travel, and you'd probably only have to travel the last part by foot, and I'd be like, that makes sense. But they wanted to do it, so that's what we're doing here. That's why I need to extrapolate and, you know, work and be like, oh, what's a good way to extrapolate this to make it actually functionable, you know, both enjoyable and still sort of cohesive with what's going on. That's a general idea. Have I nailed it? I don't know. That's what makes it so hard. Lore is easy. Roleplay is easy. Encounters, that's hard. And that, it also, I think, does alleviate it a bit on my end, because I think that there was a thing which I found quite frustrating. In these early stages, there's that random encounters. It's like, well, I want them to do these important story moments, but if they just don't roll that encounter, then they're not going to do it. So I'm like, how am I going to interject lore in, essentially, if I don't get the opportunity to? This makes it a bit easier, where it's like, okay, now I have my set moments where I can inject lore into, but there's also an element of chance where they have to essentially figure out how they're going to react to certain ways, methods, movements, etc. Yeah, it's like a branching path sort of thing. I don't know if it's a reference or a thumbnail. Energy plus 30. So I hope it goes well. That's all I can ask for. I didn't even talk about gacha as well. How did my Zubai pulls go? They went fine, I would say. I would say slightly unlucky than usual, but I think it's all out in the wash. Actually, it's not that much unlucky, I think. I got an early pull, but it was a lost 50-50, wasn't it? No. I lost 50-50, but then I got an early redo for 50-50, so it's okay. And then I lost the weapon banner pull. But, I mean, compared to the fact that when I pulled for Columbine, I got everything within like 15 pulls or something, it's pretty good. So I'll take it as it comes. And plus, I don't know if there's anyone I want to pull in Genshin for a while, to be honest. Hold on. Not Cry Genshin characters. I think because all my characters I wanted were very front loaded. Like, I don't want Varka. I like maybe Sandrone, but like I don't even know. I don't really want Alice. I don't really want Nicole. Or was it Sandrone? Sandrone? I don't even know. She's possibly the only one. Oh yeah, I should see, like, where was it? Genshin characters silhouettes. Was that, they did a second wave of upcoming ones, wasn't it? There's like an upcoming standard character who I don't know. Barker, Nicole. Don't know who that is. Don't know who that is. Don't know who that is. And there's a Sandrone. Right? So, yeah, there's not a lot of Genshin I want to pull. Star Rail, I want to pull Yao Guang. But I think that's basically it for a while. Until Pearl comes out, maybe. I'm not even sure, to be honest. Nidhux seems pretty good. ZZZ, well, ZZZ is different. Angels of Delusion. That's what I'm putting for. Woowa? Maybe AMF? I don't really know. There's nothing like none of the characters I'm like that crazy about, I think. So, we'll see. Otherwise, yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of... It's difficult with random encounters. It's difficult planning out the sort of like management roguelike thing in real life. But like... Not in real life, it's not real life, isn't it? But like... Abstracted to D&D system, you know. What would be most easy is as if there was someone who just like made a list of 100 like short form encounters. Like very simple encounters. Because I'll be honest, I've not written out 100, to be honest, but I've written out a good number to be able to fill the blanks, essentially. Yes. Oh, I actually completely forgot that I made some smaller cities, smaller villages, which are part of the pit stops across. So I need to update my own notes, you know. Blagovishi. So even if it does make everything a bit more structured, well, I mean, also I did this one, spoilers, because like the later regions are going to be harder to navigate through, which just means I can upset the probability, because I've divided everything into negative energy, no effects, regular effects, or like risky effects essentially, or then large effects. And then some which is just sort of like story mode. Maybe that's how I should change it. Hold on. No, I put big events. And then I have main encounters, yeah. And that's... I don't know. It's just so difficult to decide if it's a good idea or not. I mean, we're playing it in 15 minutes anyway, so who knows? I guess I gotta just... you just gotta send it, to be honest. But I think it's definitely the part I worry about most, is if basically the players don't engage with it. You know, again, not necessarily all their fault. You know, 50-50, shall we say. But it's hard sometimes. It's hard as a DM to be like, I want you engaged with this, I want you interacting, I want you doing something. You know, you can't just make me speak for 3 hours. This is not what I signed up for. So the moments when they roleplay, the moments where they take over, like, part of me also almost wants to just be like, you can like decide some of your own random encounters and I'll use them and I'll just improv them on the spot if I pull them or something like that. But I know for sure no one's gonna write an encounter if I do that. So, yeah, I don't know. Well, we'll have to see. Again, it's all very experimental at the moment. Amina and Apollo singing together is very cute. Look at them, lovebirds. Yeah, I don't know. But there's a lot of interesting things which go into this sort of consideration. I don't know what the best answer is, to be honest. Oh well, we'll see. I guess I was going to round this episode off now, but I'm like, now it's a bit too early. A couple of minutes, you know. I just don't know how it's going to go. And it doesn't worry me, I suppose, in the sense that it's like anxiety inducing. But it does make me go, you know. It does make me sort of reflect and be like, I wonder how it'll be. I guess probably that you know, I just don't want it to be in a case where it's just like, this isn't even fun to DM, this isn't even fun to play, this is or like, this is so exhausting, sort of thing. that would be a true bad. But then, you know, that's why you change things up. You try them, doesn't work, that's fine. It was only 3 hours of your life. You won't get them back, but it probably isn't all that bad. Well, maybe, I don't know. Your mileage may vary. Anyway. On that note, I guess we'll sort of round this episode up here, you know? What else am I going to talk about? Nothing, I suppose. So, if you have been watching, thank you very much. It's been Animal Crossing New Horizons, and I've been Dear Darling. Likes, comments, subscription, shares, greatly appreciated. Socials, Discord down below. Hope to see you again, but for now, it's our farewell. So until next time, bye-bye for now.